Welcome to WebUI Training, Vendor, Course 805, Vendor Setup, Part 2. This training video will demonstrate how to navigate vendor setup. The key fields included are Ordering tab, Taxing tab, EDI tab, Reconcile tab, Route tab, General Ledger tab, Supplier Access tab, Custom tab, and Field Description Help. Before starting, you will need to have completed the following courses. For Part 2 of Vendor Setup, we will move on to the Ordering tab. On the Ordering tab, for purchase order defaults, you allow all defaults with the exception of freight expected. You will only leave this checked if the buyer states freight is always expected from this vendor. Replenishment defaults to blanket orders. We do not do blanket orders. You will want to change this setting to warehouse transfers. Discounts will default to net, only change to gross if the vendor allows discount on the gross invoice, including add-ons. Add-ons, TWL, rebates, and interest add you will leave as defaults unless there is a change requested by the buyer. Next, we will move to the Taxing tab. The taxing information will need to be completed for our 1099 vendors. The ID number field will need to be either the vendor's federal ID number or Social Security number. The 1099 field, if there is an ID number above, you will need to decide at that point if this customer is going to receive a 1099. If they are, you need to change this to 6. If they are not to receive a 1099 and you've completed the ID number, you will need to leave this field 0. The 1099 name will need to be completed if on the 1099 the vendor name needs to appear differently than shown on the vendor setup. Box number, this will either be a 1 for rents or a 7 for all other non-employee compensation. The majority of our vendors will be a box 7. Next is our EDI tab. This tab will need to be completed for all EDI vendors. Next is the Reconcile tab. We currently have tolerances set up for our group reconcile within the Vendor Invoice Center. These are at system level. If you need to override the system level setups per vendor, you can do that within this tab. The Route tab is the settings for the direct route. Within the General Ledger tab, you have the AP control, the bank, and the discount fields. Currently, we have system setups for these accounts. Do not enter an account in here unless you plan to override the system setups. The field I see being used the most in this GL tab is the expense asset field. Within here, you can enter an account number for expense invoices, so when you're entering this vendor, it automatically defaults. I see this for rent payments or third-party add-on vendors. Supplier Access is not currently being used. Custom will show any custom fields available. At this point, you will click Save to save all the changes made to this vendor. One final piece of information. On the Context Apps, over on the right, if you open SX Help, under Documents you see Help. This will link you to a help document to explain other fields within vendor setup. Within here, to access the field descriptions, you will click Vendors, Form and Field Descriptions, Setup, Vendor Setup Overview, and as you can see, here are each of the tabs. If I click on the Ordering Overview, Vendor Setup Ordering Field Descriptions. you will see all the fields within the Ordering tab are available with the descriptions. If you need any further information, please refer to this document. Congratulations, you have just completed Course 805, Vendor Setup Part 2. Now it's time to try it out. Go to Employees at Work, click the Web UI Train icon, follow the instructions to log in. Below is your suggested next course.